Hello and welcome into High School Roundup here on CUTV, the final edition of the 2015 Whippeal football season as we're getting into the semifinals of the Whippeal playoffs and all classifications heading towards the finals in a couple weeks at Heinz Field. Hello, I'm your host, Zach Prosba, and joining me as always are my esteemed panel of analysts, Anthony D'Agostino and Matthew Hagee. Guys, this last week was very unprecedented. A lot of upsets.
Yes.
It's never really been seen before, at least while we've all been on High School Roundup, especially me and Matt over the last few years. These upsets were everywhere this week.
November Madness is what we're calling it. November Nuts. This is it's basically what it is. And there could have been a lot more. A couple teams, they fought hard at halftime, and then the games worked itself out. But a couple of these games, just thinking, wow, I'm scratching my head. But this is great. This is what Whippeal football is all about. It's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen every week.
It was crazy to know back from where I'm from. There's at least some upsets in the beginning. Now, this past week, there wasn't any upsets, really. All the top-seeded teams basically won. So that was kind of surprising. The upsets moved from where I live now over here. So, interesting.
Yeah, out there in your District 3, or whatever
It's
that is.
a great district.
Thank you, Matt.
But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get into the brackets. We're going to start with AAA this time, because that's where a lot of the big action happened. So we're going to go ahead and look at the AAA bracket first off. And you see here, Central Valley, that kind of holds true to form. They defeat Montour 42-9. First upset that we're going to look at, though, Mars, the Fighting Planets over Ringgold 35-0 after Ringgold defeated Ambridge 35-0. Matt, Ringgold, that was very surprising.
I actually was not surprised by that. In my bracket that I have here that I made right before the playoffs started, I actually had Mars beating Ringgold because Ringgold, they don't have that it factor they had last year. And the funny thing is, I screwed up the scores last week saying Ringgold lost 35-0 to Ambridge. Well, turn around, they lose to the Fighting Planets 35-0. But I think this Ringgold's offense just sputtered towards the end of the year. And I thought Mars is good, so I expected, and Mars was just a higher seed there. And so I went with the Fighting Planets. So for some, yes. Some in our viewing area, yes. This is a surprise. Ringgold went down, especially they beat Hampton, the same team from Mars's conference last year. So Mars and Central Valley, it's going to be a good matchup.
And then looking at the right side of the bracket, two upsets here. Franklin Regional over Bell Vernon, 28-7. So Bell Vernon, their undefeated season comes to an end, the storybook year. And then Thomas Jefferson. I called this upset last week.
So did him.
Anthony, yeah, you did too. I was about to say that. 14-0 over West Allegheny. West Allegheny not going to make the Whippeal finals for the first time, I want to say 2011-ish?
2011, yeah.
2011. Right. So, TJ, Franklin, Anthony, huge upsets there.
And I picked both upsets.
That's
actually.
right.
If you remember,
that's right.
last week pick'ems, I picked Franklin Regional over Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson. I picked Thomas Jefferson more because I saw them before. I kind of knew them. But Franklin Regional, I just had to go with an upset somewhere, and I was like, they have a better shot over top of this BVA team that we've seen before.
Well, and congratulations to Bell Vernon on a great season. I mean, 9-0 in the regular season. Are you kidding me? No one in this panel expected that. It's a great job for the Leopards. But last year, Franklin Regional beat Bell Vernon. I should have realized this. This was the pick after Friday. I was thinking I should have picked Franklin because you look what Franklin did to the Big Ten Conference. Crushed West Mifflin. Crushed Bell Vernon. Now they got Thomas Jefferson this week, another Big Ten team. So in Franklin Regional, they have experience, 2005 state champs. So as for Thomas Jefferson, the whole third quarter in that game, they controlled the ball. Like every single play in the third quarter was run by the Jaguars. What a difference a year makes them beating West Allegheny. Because I was at that West Allegheny game at Bethel Park when they played them last year. That was one of the most lopsided games I've ever witnessed. Thomas Jefferson's come a long way from being a one-dimensional offense with Austin Kemp. Now they have Zane Zandier and Quentin Hill. This team is loaded, and they're hot.
Yeah, and it's always the hot teams going into the playoffs that end up, getting towards the finals and stuff. They're only one game away from getting to Heinz Field. Now we're going to look at Quad A, where everything's kind of holding more to form than the other classifications. Woodland Hills, the number 1 overall seed, defeats Bethel Park 40-20. And then Pittsburgh Central Catholic over North Allegheny 31-17. Pitt Central Catholic, they kind of had a little bit of a down year, but they're picking it up right when they need to.
Well, yeah, that's what they do. They lost to North Allegheny early in the season, so that's a revenge game right there. But this is a Woodland Hills, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. It doesn't get any better than that in the postseason. 2 years ago, Whippeal final, Pittsburgh Central Catholic won. Woodland Hills, they struggled with Bethel Park. It was 21-21, but then Woodland Hills put their foot on the gas and went off. I originally thought Woodland Hills was my pick, but that could be changing because Pittsburgh Central Catholic looks great right now. That is a quality win over North Allegheny.
And then we'll look at the right side of the bracket. Penn Trafford in overtime defeats McKeesport in a rematch from the regular season, 39-32. And Pine Richland, a big win here over Mount Lebanon, 42-13. Anthony, that Penn Trafford McKeesport game, that was the one we all kind of circled in Quad A because we've seen that matchup before this year. And McKeesport really had Penn Trafford on the ropes until the Warriors they came back and stole it away.
McKeesport, you let me down. I had them getting to the championship game.
Wow, that's cool.
And I also had North Allegheny getting to the championship game and winning it all. So
not
PCC,
a good week.
PCC kind of destroyed that chance. But give credit to Penn Trafford because being down, having to come back, getting to overtime, and then finally getting the win, it's huge. And they should take that momentum and use that in the next week.
They were down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and came back and won that game. But LaFoon, Vecchio had another big night. That's the names we talk about. However, for Penn Trafford, they don't get Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Like the last 2 years they have in the Whippeal semis. That's 4 straight wins over McKeesport, by the way. However, they face Pine Richland from the same conference as Pittsburgh Central Catholic, the Northern 8. Pine Richland, defending Whippeal champions, made it to the state final last year, although Wilson Bulldogs should have been. I'm still not happy about that. So this is a big test. Can Penn Trafford shake off the Northern 8 Demons? This is huge for them. This is the best Penn Trafford team. And even their coach said Brett LaFoon's the best quarterback he's ever coached. So this is the Penn Trafford team to win it all. If they don't get it done now,
they may not.
It may not. It may not happen for a while.
And it's funny how we've been talking to all these conferences facing other conferences where you look, say, in AAA, the Big Ten, it seems like such a good conference. They beat up on each other, such very talented teams. Yeah. They get outside of that conference, and they really don't do well. It's kind of the same thing with the Foothills. Right. Penn Trafford, McKeesport, other teams, really good. As soon as they get outside, they start falling off. Penn Trafford, the only one left there, and TJ, the only one left in the Big Ten.
Well, it's good to see the local teams do well. And Anthony, I could see why you picked McKeesport. Their rushing attack was as good as anyone in the past month, and you got to see experience there. So I can see why you definitely went with McKeesport there. It's a great rivalry, though, and you're getting firsthand experience at these rivalries out here.
And it was a really tough pick because, we've seen Penn Trafford play. We saw them play Penn Connellsville, and we've seen Tim Vecchio and LaFoon play, and they're stellar people, stellar athletes. And you also saw McKeesport and how well they did this season. So it was really actually a hard pick, and it's worth it to see when they went to overtime.
Yeah, excellent game.
Yeah, being a neutral site, it was that even much harder, not at home at any one site. So that'll do it for AAA and Quad A brackets. We'll get to who we think may win those classifications later, but when we come back from this commercial break, we will wrap up the AA and Single A brackets from the last week, have those scores for you when we return to High School Roundup here on CUTV.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
Roundup on CUTV. We've gone through the AAA and Quad A brackets for the Whippeal football playoffs for 2015 now as we head into the semifinal rounds of each classification. Now, we're going to be heading into the lower 2 classifications, AA and Single A. And we'll get it started with AA, where there were some upsets in there as well, as it's kind of been the theme for this final week of High School Roundup. So we'll go ahead and look at the AA bracket now. We'll start with the left side. South Fayette. They hold true. They have won 43 straight games at this point now, 54-7 over Beaver. Here's where, not an upset per se, but it could have gone either way. Steel Valley, who is represented by our own Stephen Ruffing in crew, 24-18 over Beaver Falls. Steel Valley going to face South Fayette again for the second time this year. I don't know if Steel Valley has what it takes to beat them, but we already saw McKeesport almost took down Pentrafford in a rematch.
It's the second time. The second time is always the toughest because Steel Valley got embarrassed on their home field on Root Sports by that South Fayette team. Now, South Fayette is holding, look what they're doing to what Burgettstown, poor Burgettstown, and then Beaver, Darius Wise, remember, he was running all in circles around Mount Pleasant, and this week he got shut down. That's a good win, though, over Beaver Falls. I looked at my bracket. I had Beaver Falls winning that game. I thought I picked Steel Valley, but I didn't. Beaver Falls, they shut down the big rushing attack that Beaver Falls had. Dwayne Murray playing great football, but Steel Valley, they get that second chance at South Fayette. Last year, South Fayette had 2 rematches. They had South Park and they had Seton LaSalle. They almost lost both games. This Steel Valley team, I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I think Steel Valley has a much better chance second time around against the Lions.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of surprising when Steve, who went to Steel Valley, he was even saying, okay, we're probably not going to beat Beaver Falls. There's a chance, but we probably won't do it, and they did. I'll tell you what. Those rematches, they are very tough. I can see Steel Valley coming in with that win. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could.
It's definitely more likely than at Anthony. It's cool because South Fayette over 40-game winning streak. That's something that it's crazy to even think of because you don't see that. Clairton, basically Clairton. South Fayette has not lost since the Whippeal semis in 2012. So, Anthony, this is a time where this could possibly happen.
I definitely think South Fayette has a chance to continue their win streak and make it to the championship game. And we'll see the right side in a little bit on who they may face coming up in the next few weeks. But South Fayette definitely has a good shot of making it to the championship game, maybe even winning it.
Yeah, and you mentioned that right side. That's where things really start to shake up. Because one team that I think all three of us thought highly of.
Crushed my soul.
Yeah, they went down. Aliquippa defeats Seton LaSalle 46-6. Wash, you were supposed to be the team that won it all this year, but you let us down. 24-14, losing to Freeport. Anthony, we've seen this Washington team. Matt has even heard from other people that this could be the team that takes down Aliquippa and South Fayette. But they lose to Freeport, who has taken down 2 straight interstate conference teams now.
And we don't want to speculate why they might have lost, but you might have been thinking that because all that talk got to their head saying, well, we can definitely get to Aliquippa, we can beat Aliquippa then in the semifinal round. They might have been looking ahead too far, and that they lost to Freeport 24-14. But we've seen this Washington team. They were on PCN when they played Mount Pleasant, and they were spectacular. They had a huge game and star athletes. So congratulations for their amazing season they had this year. So even if they ended up losing this game, but they just had a wonderful season.
Well, there was that thing about Wash. We saw that against Mount Pleasant too. If a team could throw on Wash, that was where the problems come in. Freeport could throw, and that's where Freeport came in and they got the win there. But let's not forget about Aliquippa. Remember, we were beating them up last week for barely beating Keystone Oaks by not a great score. Kazon Pugh did play in that game against Seton LaSalle, and it showed. They kind of silenced some critics right there.
Yeah.
But they're going to have a hands full with Freeport. Freeport is a dark horse, and they're playing good football at the right time.
Yeah, Aliquippa, that big name, not just known in the region, but across the country.
Yep.
I mean, you got guys like Darrell Rivas coming out of Aliquippa.
Tony Dorsett, the names go on and on.
Exactly. They are the ones that are predicted to win, but Freeport has been playing Cinderella role this year, and it could continue. Who knows? We'll see this week. Now we'll move on to Single A, where there was a little bit of shakeup in there as well. Some of the top teams still in there. It actually holds true to form, I guess you can say, where all 1, 2, 3, and 4 got in, but it's surprising that that 4th team got in there. As we'll look at the left side, Clairton 46-21 over Avonworth, much closer than we've seen some Clairton scores this year. And here's the big upset. And yes, 4 over 5 is an upset here because no Tri-County South team has made the semifinals in Whippeal playoffs since 2006. Best Center did it. 2007, Monessen did it, but they're no longer in the Tri-County South. They get the win 14-13 over Shenango. And we all thought Shenango was going to run away with this game. But Fraser, their defense returned after an off week against Southside Beaver.
Oh, yeah, and congratulations to Fraser. I mean, I felt so good for Fraser getting that far there. And it looked like Shenango was up 13-0. They looked like that was exactly what was going to happen. Fraser's defense stood tall. They shut them out in the second half. They scored 14 points. The local suspect, Caleb Cox, had a big game. He had 2 touchdowns in that game. As for Clareton, 14-14 at halftime against Avonworth. It took them to the second half to do that. But it's Fraser's defense. They haven't seen a athletic team like Clareton. These two teams faced each other in the Whitfield playoffs in 2012 and 2013 as well. That was in the first round, though. That's when Fraser was given the 16 seed to Clareton. But now, Clareton and Fraser in the semifinals. This is the first time Fraser's been in the Whitfield semi since 1983. So congratulations, what a season for the Commodores. But at Clareton, it's going to be this is a local site too. The game's at Elizabeth Ford.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, honestly, if any team is going to take down Clareton, I know it sounds sacrilege to say, but I think Fraser's defense is up to that challenge. I think they could at least keep it close in the first half. Second half, Clareton may run away with it, but I think Fraser has a good chance. Anthony, what?
Well, Clareton, they were down, I believe, in the second half. End of the first half.
You're right.
They were looking like they were going to get upset, and then they came back in the second half and put on a show.
They've done that a couple times this year.
Right.
They did it with Jeanette as well.
And it's interesting to see that Fraser, both games, they only won by 1 point. It was within 1 point, and Fraser comes away with the win. So we'll see if that happens again with Clareton.
That's grit, man.
Sometimes it's not skill. Sometimes it's luck and destiny that plays a part in the playoffs. As now we'll look at the other side of the single A bracket, where you see Cardinal World North Catholic 49-20 over Bishop Canavan. Bishop Canavan was up 20-7 at one point in this game, if you will believe me or not, before Cardinal World came back. Jeanette 25-15 over Neshannock. That's a kind of a classic gritty matchup. Jeanette, they're one of those teams that's not going to outrun you. They're just going to kind of grit the game away. So Cardinal World and Jeanette in the Final Four matchup in this side. Anthony, we haven't seen either of these teams. What side do you lean on, at least in the bracket you filled out?
Well, I filled out, it's completely messed up because GCC I had going to the championship game, and they didn't do so well. But looking at CWNC and Jeanette, I actually thought Jeanette was going to lose to Neshannock. But now having that they beat Neshannock, I have them actually going to the championship game against Clareton. So it could pan out that CWNC could beat Jeanette because they're a really good team. They're solid. That team is really solid.
2 years ago, state champions. I mean, that brand of football up in Cranberry Township is it's a good one for Cardinal World North Catholic. And for Jeanette here, good for them. And Neshannock made it to the Whitfield semis last year, but Cardinal World North Catholic, they struggled, like you said, with Bishop Canavan there. So I think, but when you have a team that has so much depth that they do, it's going to be tough to beat Cardinal World North Catholic. But Jeanette can run the ball with success. Look out, Jayhawks could make it back to the first time in single A they'd make it to the Whitfield finals.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the thought around most of single A is that if there's any team that can beat Clareton, it's Cardinal World or Jeanette. So either one of those teams, whichever one gets to the finals, I think we're all in agreement that Clareton's going to be there. I think either one of them could take down Clareton. I think Cardinal World has a better shot, though, because they've done it. They've won a title before.
Yes.
Jeanette's not done this in single A, so they don't have as much experience doing that in this classification.
But also, Jeanette would get another rematch against Clareton, and they held them
they
pretty
were
tough in first. Yeah.
I think they were either up or tied at halftime.
They were up by 1 point at halftime in that game, but with Cardinal World North Catholic, they are more balanced than Clareton. That's the thing. That's why I think Cardinal World North Catholic has a decent chance here. But they can't get off to the start they did against Bishop Canavan because Bishop Canavan is not Clareton, and they are not Jeanette either. So if they get down early against Jeanette, it's going to be tough for. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're built to come back, but they can't let Jeanette get a lead early because they can just run away and play keep away just like Thomas Jefferson did to West Allegheny. Playing keep away is keeping that other offensive field because they can't come back.
Yeah, and we've seen him plenty of times in the NFL. As long as Tom Brady or Peyton Manning's off the field, they can't beat you. Basic theory there. So that'll do it for the scores for the 2015 high school roundup season. We're done with the brackets. We're done with the scores. Now, we're going to get into our final round of Pick'em. I am so close to getting that championship. We are going to go through who we think will win each classification, and then we will have our top 10 plays from the 2015 season when we come back. Also, Matt Hagee's going to be taking over hosting duties as it's our last time here on High School Roundup on CUTV.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car. More music in the dorm. More music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation. Playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
First published in the 1880s, the California Times is the oldest student media at California University. Circulating 3,000 issues weekly on campus and in the surrounding community, the Times' mission is to deliver fair and balanced news to the student population of California University. All students are welcome to be a part of the California Times. Our offices are located in the Natali Student Union. Keep up to date with the Times online at www.caltimes.org, Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
And welcome back to High School Roundup. As Zach mentioned earlier, I'll be taking over the rest of the show for the top 10 plays, because top 10 plays, especially since we've been doing it the past 2 years, has been something I've kind of done. I've edited all of them. I've been basically making the final executive decision for each play, how it's going along, and I've also created top 10 plays. But first, we have some picks to do. However, we're not going to pick games. We're going to pick who's going to win the champion, who we think is going to win each classification. Well, let's take a look at the pick'em standings. Well, we can actually just avoid that. We could not ignore those scores. 1-4. Penn Trafford doesn't come back and win. I would have been scoreless. I would have been winless on my last one.
I know. You and I both, we're texting back and forth these games, and it's like, okay, our last round of pick'em.
I'm going to go winless.
We're going to go winless.
Well,
what the heck?
You were better with Thomas Jefferson there. But 4 games separates Zach and myself. Other Gary and Anthony are eliminated from taking out Zach. So Gary doesn't like. But 4. So what that means, I can pick against you in every championship game, and I can at least tie you. So let's take a look. Let's look at Quad A here and see who thinks going to win it here. Gary thinks Woodland Hills, my original pick. Zach, you're going with Penn Trafford. I'm going with Pittsburgh Central Catholic, a change. I first thought Woodland Hills was going to win it. And Anthony, you're also going with Woodland Hills there. So Zach, still going with Penn Trafford.
Yeah, I'm going with Penn Trafford just because they showed enough grit in that overtime win. They've been dominant all year long. McKeesport is a team that they have seen before. McKeesport knows how to beat them. Pine Richland will be a test.
Yes.
But Penn Trafford, I think, is going to defeat their semifinal demons this year. They're going to get to the final. I think they're going to take on PCC. And I think Penn Trafford, this is the year they can actually defeat Central Catholic, and I think they'll raise the championship in AAA, or Quad A.
And Anthony, you went with Woodland Hills, going with the tandem of Miles Sanders, also the big running back they have.
Well, I picked Woodland Hills because they're the only team left that could possibly make it to the championship game.
That's good. And moving along into AAA here, who we think we're going to win? We're all going with Central Valley. Except Zach. You think Thomas Jefferson riding the team that's probably the hottest team in the Whitfield.
Yeah, if you think about this. Think about in the NFL, the 05 Steelers, the Giants when they've won the Super Bowls, the Packers. It's about the team who comes in hot and continues their momentum. And no team has more momentum in all of the Whitfield than Thomas Jefferson. They lost their first 2 games. They've not lost since. This team is the team that I think will win AAA just because everything is clicking since their 3rd game of the year. Central Valley is a tough test. And Franklin Regional is no gimme game.
That's going to be tough.
If TJ gets past Franklin Regional, which I definitely think they will, according to that pick, I think TJ has the momentum that they're going to take away the title.
I think that in my bracket, I said CV winning, but I had them going against Thomas Jefferson. Over top of Franklin Regional. I just think, as you said before, they lost their first 2 games, and they're just a spectacular team, so good luck to them.
Yeah, and I'll go with Central Valley just from experience. They won last year as well. So let's look at AA here, and it's going to be usual suspects. South Fayette, Gary, Zach going with South Fayette. Anthony, you and I going with Aliquippa. Aliquippa, Vendetta, they can't beat South Fayette. They have not defeated South Fayette since 2011. But I think Kazon Pugh, he's going to run this team. Even if he's injured, he's going to run this team to the AA championship and also make it to the state final as well. Now let's take a look at single A here. We're all going with Clairton except me.
You're only doing that for pick'em purposes.
Pretty much. But Cardinal World North Catholic, like I said, 2 years ago, state champions. But I think this Cardinal World North Catholic team, I was very tempted early on to see who I was going to pick there. It was going to be Clareton or Cardinal World North Catholic. North Catholic is the only team that I think can knock out Clareton. So that will do it for our picks. We'll see what happens, and we won't announce the full winner, but we have a tie. So now, without further ado, the top 10 plays for High School Roundup of 2015. We will start number 10 right here, and this was so tough to pick these plays. We're going to go start at Laurel Highlands. On Laurel Highlands senior day here, Jimmy Pierce, senior, what a career he had, finds Chad Livingston. What a season he had. Pinball wizard action there by Chad Livingston, going to the end zone here, making a dive and making it happen his final game at Laurel Highlands. Zach, number 9.
And going number 9, we have Carlin Garnering from West Mifflin. This is our game that we saw them against Elizabeth Ford. Running out of bounds, and then he just chucks it in the end zone. And we're like, okay, it's going to be picked off or intercepted. It throws an incredible touchdown. West Mifflin come away with that victory.
Anthony, you got number 8.
Mount Pleasant, trick play. Throwing to the wide receiver, Johnny Esther to Kyle Halterman for the Washington touchdown against Mount Pleasant. Just a perfect play.
And for Mount Pleasant there, that was great. Number 7 here, we're going to the playoffs here. The only playoff play that's on this top 10 right here at Central Valley. Kyle Vreen thinking he stopped. He reverses his field. And you know what's funny about this? He's going to score here the same exact spot Jordan Whitehead was in last year's top 10 plays against Laurel Highlands. So number 7 pick for Central Valley. Number 6, Zach.
And we're going to go here. Another Laurel Highlands highlight. They had a lot of top plays. This was the first game of the year. Chad Livingston, he put his name on our radar with this 87-yard kickoff return. This was the first play of the season, believe it or not. And he gets it in 87 yards for the score. Number 6 on the top plays.
Number 5, Anthony.
Is Laurel Highlands again. This time it's not for Laurel Highlands getting the plays. Dalton Holt, 98-yard interception, pick 6, and this will seal the win for the Rams here. And just a huge interception return for a touchdown.
No, it was great, and Ringgold was able to eke that win out. Number 4 here, we go back to Laurel Highlands, the Battle of Uniontown here. Watch this catch here. Jacob Swartz, one-handed catch. You only need 1 foot in bounds for high school and college, and he does just that. Great play. Number 3, Zach.
And then, because the first time I ever said Yock's name on High School Roundup, I have to say it again. Yo, with the double reverse all the way downfield. We've seen this play a couple times before, and the properly pronounced Yock sits at number 3.
Number 2, Anthony.
And who but Penn Trafford, Tim Vecchio, CUTV history right here. 106-yard pick 6 against Connellsville. Just huge play. He was our blue ribbon play for the longest time, but our now reigning blue ribbon champion is our number 1 pick, Matt Hagee.
And the number 1 play of the season, Fraser Best Center, the dubbed CUTV game of the year, as we thought right here. Look at this. Fraser up 7-0. They need a big play before they have. Little reverse action here. Caleb Cox, the wide receiver, finds Damon Lovis on the final play, goes in the end zone, gives Fraser the lead. They go on to win this game 21-0. The Tri-County South, and they're in the Whippeal semifinals, like I said, for the first time since 1983. So that's it.
Wow.
That's it, man.
Season went by too fast.
Yeah, it really did go by too fast. As we're about to wrap this up here, Zach, this is your and mine last show.
Yeah. Anthony, why don't you go ahead and say your final words first before we go ahead?
Well, you'll get to see me for the next 2 years, so don't be too sad. And we'll have 2 new great analysts. We have one person from the Whippeal, Stephen Ruffing, and Danny Beck, who is from my area, District 3 as well. So we'll continue that District 3 little action there. It'll be fun. I can't wait for next football season already. It's been an honor being with you guys on this show. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait for next year. Keep watching.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that we actually get a Whippeal guy on here now with Steven coming on, because none of us are from Whippeal. I'm from Georgia, for goodness sake.
We were both from District 3.
Yeah, so Matt, you mentioned it's the final show. I've been on the show 3 years. I also was an analyst one time my freshman year as well. I can say without a doubt, this has been the best show that I've been a part of. In my time at CUTV, it's been the most fun show, the one that we've put the most work into, I think, because we completely do this ourselves as students. Anthony and Matt, you're the highlights. I always do the graphics and stuff. It's been fun. All the times I've been on here. I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
One last time, my God, Mapletown, Big Bad Bentworth, yo instead of Yock. It's been a lot of great memories. I'm going to miss doing this show every year. And Anthony, you better believe I'm going to be watching on YouTube next year, making sure.
Same.
No District 7 on this show. It's Whipule.
But and who could forget Boom Get Off Me from last year? Anthony Walsh. We saw some great plays. And being from District 3, coming out here my freshman year, I never saw District 7. Whipule football, except for like in the state finals. But it's a new brand of football. It's been great. It's been great. And honestly, I've been paying attention more to Whipule football than District 3, especially in my own high school at Daniel Boone. So it's been a wonderful ride for 2 years. I remember I joined CUTV in 2013, saying. And seeing this show and seeing everyone do it, you Tyler and Cody doing it, and I'm like, I want to get involved in this. This is a lot of fun. You guys have a lot of fun, and for one last time, we thank everyone for watching High School Roundup 2015. It's for Zach Prosba, Anthony D'Agostino. My name is Matt Hagee. Thank you for watching. Have a great year, and we'll see you next fall for High School Roundup 2016. Good night, everyone.